Hello everybody, I'm Lowell Martin and this is MCC Today. We have broccoli. On today's show, we have Mandy Hurtt and Dewease. It's going to be a really good show.
Find your wings. It's more than just a hashtag.
It's the power of knowledge in our state-of-the-art classrooms.
It's skills training for a competitive job market.
It's the best nursing program in the state.
It's home runs, buzzer beaters, and the thrill of victory.
And MCC walks it off.
It's not just a hashtag. How do I know? Because I found my wings.
And we have one of my favorite guests today. How are you doing, Miss Mandy?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
Now, Mandy Hurtt, you are our lead recruiting coordinator.
I am.
How many people do you lead?
No, well, myself. Right. And I help our recruiters out as well.
Okay. So what does that entail? What do y'all do?
As recruiters, we go out to the schools and we're out in the public of trying to be there for people that just need information and help them obviously recruit them to come to MCC. But also we are some of the faces of MCC, just to be there and being available. And if we don't know exactly what they need, we can definitely point them the right direction.
Which is important. You know,
Right.
we don't have all of the answers. And I tell the people this all the time. I don't have all the answers, but I know where to ask.
Right.
I know who to ask.
Exactly.
Now, when we say our recruiters, these are our Ivy League recruiters.
Ivy League recruiters, so they are
Great
students.
group of young people.
Yes, we have about 30. We start off with 30. And so, yeah, they are doing this on a scholarship on top of school.
Okay.
And so they, of course, go out to the schools. They do school visits, college fairs, that sort of thing.
And there's a process to become an Ivy League recruiter. You're not just like, oh, hey, I want to be one, and let me do that.
Right. You do have to apply for it, and there is an interview process as well. In the past, we've had like over 50 applicants, and we can only keep a handful. This past year, I believe we were able to keep maybe, I think, about 15, 16 on top of our other recruiters that we had from the year before.
And you said that there is a scholarship associated with this as well.
Yes, there is.
And it looks good on a resume.
Correct.
And it looks good trying to get into schools and universities.
Exactly. And not only that, I was thinking about the other day is you always come across situations that you can better yourself, and then later when you're in an interview, you can pull off those from those situations of what you learned from and how you grew.
Mm-hmm. Now, one of the things that you say you're the lead recruiting coordinator.
Yes.
But you're not one of these people that just delegates everything, because I see you all the time bringing tours around campus, because you always come by the Success Center.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
No, you're welcome.
But you are not one of these people who you are not afraid to get in the trenches, with them, and you lead by demonstration.
Yes,
which I think is wonderful.
I appreciate it, but I love helping people, and I think I don't know if I told you about it before, but with me being a student here at MCC, I came across a lot of great people that helped me along the way. It takes a village,
Yes.
And so I've always tried to keep it in the back of my head of people helped you along the way. You need to keep that in mind and try and help students as well, because it's a hard process of trying to find out what all you need to do and where you need to go and what's available to you, because we have a lot of stuff that is available to us at MCC.
Oh yes, there's so many opportunities, and there's so much, and I tell students all the time, ask me, just ask me, because there might be a resource available that you don't know about that might help you do whatever it is you do,
Exactly.
Or whatever it is you need.
Yeah, and I was just talking to one of our recruiters the other day about our food pantry. A lot of people don't realize that we have that on campus that's available to students and people in need.
Yes, yes. With food pantry, and we help with books a lot. Sometimes there's just so much out there that unless you ask, and if you get over that little about asking. And I remember, because when I came here a million years ago, I might add, but when I came here, I didn't know enough at the time to even ask some things. You know what I mean? Because there's a whole you say, words that, somebody says and you're like, what does that mean?
Right.
Or, and I finally there were a couple of people I was like, okay, I'm comfortable talking to this person. Yeah. But here's how bad it was. I thought automatically that if I was in like English 1 or math, or, that it would automatically go into Math 2, English 2, the second in spring semester. So I came to classes spring semester and I wasn't signed up for anything.
Oops.
Now, we've got a lot. Spring is going to be here before we know it.
Yes, it begins January 10th.
January 10th, okay. And so classes will begin January 10th.
Yes.
So there are things that you need to make sure that you have done.
Right.
What kind of
things?
Well,
for people that are not already a student here,
right.
Because those students, of course, would need to just either meet with their advisor and plan for their next semester.
Sure.
But for people that are not currently attending MCC, they, of course, need to go ahead and fill out one of our MCC applications.
Right.
It's actually on our website at meridiancc.edu. Okay. You can actually do /apply, and it takes maybe 10 minutes. It's free. There's no harm, no foul. If you decide you don't, something happens, you don't start in spring, go ahead and do that. That's
and
the first step.
And within 24 hours, you typically have a contact with an advisor.
You do.
They'll either email you, call you, something.
Something. You should hear that you've been accepted into MCC, because we are an open enrollment institution.
Okay.
So you don't have to worry about if you have a minimum score or anything like that. But we do ask for a final high school transcript,
okay.
And then an ACT score of some sort. Now, if you haven't taken the ACT score, you can actually take the AccuPlacer here, and that is MCC's version of the ACT. And so you can actually register and take that for free the first time.
The first time, and so you could just call up and say, I would like to sign up to take the AccuPlacer.
Exactly.
Okay.
And they will get you signed up, and you can take it. And so those
scores will be used in lieu of
the ACT
score.
Correct. Especially like if with taking like a math class or something, if you make high enough, that sort of thing. So they'll take a look at that. And then also if you've attended another college, please send your transcripts as well to us, because we need that on file.
Now, if you are just applying for the spring, is financial aid still available? Do you know?
Well, I would definitely go down there and apply for it. Yes,
okay. So
because you are encouraged to apply for financial aid, because your FAFSA usually it opens around October 1, especially for the next school year. So I would always tell students with your FAFSA and your MTAG, go ahead and see about applying. Because I know September 15th is usually the deadline for that. Okay. But still, go talk to somebody in financial aid, and just to make sure.
Sure.
Because there are deadlines on that. And since we are talking about financial aid and that sort of thing, a big thing here is tuition guarantee.
Yes.
And so in spring, though, I'm about to start going to the high schools and reminding students, like, hey, don't forget to apply for FAFSA, don't forget to apply for your MTAG, and then also tuition guarantee. Because I don't know if you were one of those people, but I thought you knew that I graduated from Lauderdale County and I lived in Lauderdale County, that it was just automatic, but you do have to apply for that. Okay. So even though technically it's September 15th, if you want to be in the running for the MCC Foundation scholarships, there's about 200 that you need to have that tuition guarantee form, because it doubles as your scholarship form and is due April 1st.
Okay. And to maintain tuition guarantee, you have to have at least a C average, maintain a C average,
yes,
and be full-time.
Correct.
And full-time is 15
credit
hours,
yes,
which is 5 3-credit hour classes.
Exactly. Or you could take a couple, one credit here or there.
Here or there.
Here or there.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you so much for being with us today. You were such a great person to have on the show, and I appreciate you greatly.
Oh, well, thank you. And if anybody needs anything, just tell them to reach out to me.
No problem.
All right. Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Meridian Community College, For more than 75 years, we've helped students soar. Establishing the first tuition guarantee program in Mississippi, we put our students first, while creating pathways into the workforce and offering a seamless transition to a 4-year degree. Now is the time to find your purpose and register today, because those who move forward never get left behind. MCC, find your wings.
And we are back, and we have the wonderful, never to be duplicated, Brandon Dewease.
That's great.
Now, you are the Director of Student Engagement.
Absolutely.
And I have asked this question a couple of times but what does that mean?
So that's a really good question. It's a fair question.
Okay.
My standard response, my joke with every student group that I speak to is, I say, "Hi, I'm Brandon. I'm the Director of Student Engagement." Does that sound like a made-up job title, right? I say that all the time. I came to MCC as the Director of Recruiting, right? And it was just recruiting, and that's what we focused on. And I had opportunity about 1.5 years ago, and I picked up what we do in campus life. So I am coordinating the efforts of everything in the life cycle of a student as far as them being plugged in at MCC, deciding to go here, enjoying their time here, and graduating. I'm sort of on the fun side of all of those things.
Okay.
So genuinely, we meet some students when they're in middle school. So we're recruiting 8th graders,
Yes.
and I am overseeing that message to what we say to that student in 8th grade and 9th grade when they graduate, and hopefully they come here, and then while they are a student here. Student engagement.
And that's wonderful. But now let me ask you, and this is in all honesty.
Sure.
We have had, and we joke about this on campus a lot, and I've joked about it for a long time, that there is this transit mentality here at Meridian Community College. Sure. You know, many of our students are working, many of our students have families, many of our students, they come here to go to class, to get their education. Absolutely. And leave. And I've joked, that if it's not located on the way to their car,
sure,
they're not going to do it.
That's right.
So
that's right.
How do you change that mentality?
Right. So part of it, a commuter student, I can get a commuter student involved in a couple of ways. Number one, programming that affects their lives. What would cause you to get back in your car, you're off, you're home, you're at the house, you've had supper, and you're going to drive back up here. What would cause you to come back up here? Well, something that you're really super interested in.
Okay.
Right? Okay. So we're trying to, that's a very fair question, by the way, it's a great question. We're trying to diversify what it is that we're...
About the good question.
Thank you, right? So you get a bonus for the good questions, I understand. We're trying to diversify our programming.
Okay.
And what that looks like, Lowell, is that we have to, coming up in the spring, we're already planning celebrations for, I know there's a committee working on Martin Luther King Jr. things. Well, right, we're going to have a student focused.
I'm the chairman of
You're I thought you were. Yes. When I pointed, I was thinking to myself, he chairs that committee.
Yes.
So we're also going to do a follow-up in February during Black History Month. We're going to do a follow-up event that is student-centric, that is focused on getting that student engaged and back up to the campus to celebrate. We're going to do a Women's History Month event. So programming on that front, that's fantastic. We need all of those things. But then we also need cornhole tournaments and frisbee golf and various games and things of that nature. So we're trying to offer a smattering, right? That's a real word.
Yes.
We're trying to offer a wide range of programming so that we can engage that student. A very important note is that we are primarily a commuter campus.
Yes.
Most of our students are going to drive to school, go to class, stay here until early afternoon, and then they go on to work, like you said, or they go home to their other responsibilities. But we have, on any given year, there's 3, 4, sometimes more than 400, closer to 500 students who live here around the clock. And it's important that we be offering those things all of the time for them. So sometimes success doesn't look like an event with 300 people. It looks like an event in the evening that reached the correct 100 people, right?
Yes. Now, and this is something that, I mean, that it's not going to be, you're not going to determine if you're successful overnight.
Sure.
It's something that, I think you're going to have to plant seeds with or for.
Absolutely.
And just determine, when will you determine if it's been successful or not?
I'll let you know. I'll let you know when we get there.
Because I've noticed that so much more is being offered in the evenings.
No doubt.
I think y'all did something in the swimming pool and watching a scary movie or a movie.
Sure.
And I think that I've heard so much about that.
Sure.
That went really well. And other things that y'all are doing.
Sure.
But, to change, it's so difficult to change velocity when you've been going, because it's been like this since I went here.
No doubt.
In 2000, no, I'm joking.
Right.
In 1981.
Right.
I graduated, I started coming here in 1981.
That's awesome.
So before you were
I'm not
born,
going to
right?
tell you.
Yeah, it was before you
I'm
were
not going to
born.
tell you when I started coming here. I was born 2 years after you started coming here.
Okay.
And I started coming here in 2001. So it was the joke that you made to begin with. It's difficult. There's a cultural component that, yes, on campus at MCC, so often we expect to have things going through the day and then for there to be less to do in the evenings. And that's fine as long as the students who do live here, and I'm in my mind, I'm pointing towards, out of our studio wall a half a mile from me, I'm pointing towards the dorm facilities,
sure,
right?
Sure. He doesn't just point randomly.
I don't just point randomly. I think spatially, and I was pointing towards their where they live.
Sure.
It's an uphill battle, Lowell, and we're trying to make. When is it successful? When we do an event and I see a huge crew of those students walking up the hill to come be at the event. I mean, that's success. If they're here and they're having a good time. We have to celebrate the small victories. Right?
I agree, and I think it's not just the events, to get them here, but also stuff like being tutored.
Sure.
I notice in the Success Center, and because I teach the college study skills class, and I say repeatedly, if you're having trouble, come and get some help.
Sure.
Come and get some help. Come and get some help.
Sure.
And students will say, well, I get out of class at this time. It's and I just don't really want to wait. I'm ready to get on home. And I'm like, but it's your grade.
That's right.
We're helping you with your grade.
That's right.
And I do consider that successful when I can get a few of those students in.
Sure.
And I think you would have the same mentality of it.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, we're going to stop right there. I'm going to bring you back after the break, after we, sell some stuff.
That's right.
And continue this, okay?
Nice.
We'll be right back.
Not essential. Never let anyone tell you that again. Never doubt your abilities to make a difference. How do I know this about you? Because I'm a teacher. I am the one who will push you harder and farther than you could have ever imagined. Teach you things that you never thought possible. And if you will give me 100%, then I will stand shoulder to shoulder with you, and together we will change your future. MCC, find your wings.
And we are back. We did not let him get away.
That's right.
Mr. Brandon Dewease, the Director of Student Engagement. Now, I noticed that you've already told us about some events that you're planning in the spring, and I remember one in particular that already you sent out for us to RSVP about, and that is the MLK Day Parade.
That's right.
So it's like you're starting us early.
Sure.
On all of this, and I think that's very important.
Absolutely.
But sometimes I think I have the mentality that my students have, and I hate to say this, I am so sorry for saying this. The older I get, when I get home,
sure,
I'm home.
Absolutely.
I am nesting.
Absolutely.
It is tough to get me back out.
That's
and
right.
I know I'm much older than our students, but getting them back.
Sure.
And that is such a, and it's like, I can see
That's
you,
right.
let's try this, let's try this, let's try this.
That's right.
And see what works.
You know what I heard one time? I heard that people follow flags and faces, All right, and I want you to consider the merit of that comment.
Okay.
What will engage me to take action that I probably would not have otherwise taken? So I'm like you, when I get home, I'm home. You use the term nesting. I'm there, right? Gym shorts, t-shirt, ball game on the television. I'm enjoying being at my house.
Yes.
What would engage
I'm the same except for the ball game.
the same except for the ball game. I understand, right? So what would engage me? Well, flags and faces. That's what moves us to action. We either follow people that we care about and that we believe in. We either follow them to do something we would not always do, or we follow a cause to go do something that maybe we would not always do. And if you think about it, that's what moves us to action. So you brought up that already in the spring we've reached out, and we want to make sure that on a day that has traditionally been a day off of school, right? A day off of school. We're out of school here at MCC to celebrate Dr. King's birthday. But there's a parade downtown in Meridian. What would engage a student to go and to join in that parade and to walk with us downtown? People follow flags and they follow faces. I think this is a worthy cause.
Definitely.
And the approach of how we're going to try to engage those students is that we went to the student organizations, we went to the athletic teams, we went to the groups that they're already in, and we're saying to those groups, will your group come and join us and go march downtown in Meridian to celebrate the birthday of Dr. Martin Luther King? People follow people and they follow causes. And we're hoping that this is just one example of turning the tide, winning this uphill battle of changing the culture, and seeing our student body be engaged, maybe in a time when they would not have always been engaged. So, and that's not just students, we want faculty and staff, we want everybody to come and be a part of that.
Do you think, and this is something that I've noticed also, that there is an increasing emphasis on the diversity?
Absolutely.
Of, that we need to reflect
Absolutely.
Our community, and it doesn't diminish anyone by supporting
That's right.
someone else. How are you trying to bring diversity into engaging the students?
Absolutely. Those are great questions. So
again, bonus.
You get bonuses for great questions. That's good. We did a faculty and staff survey in the spring of, I guess that was in the spring of 2020. And I'm serving on a committee with diversity and inclusion right now, and I am privy to some of those responses, and I've seen some of those statistics of what our folks said back to us. And we know that there are places here on our campus, in our culture, where what we need to be doing is turning the tide. And you mentioned just a moment ago, you said something about what are we doing to engage those students. We already talked about that there's, you guys, I keep alluding to the fact that you're the chair of the Martin Luther King Committee, right? We're going to do events. We're going to do a speaking engagement. We're going to do an event for Black History Month. We're going to highlight, hopefully I'm working with a committee there. Everything's by committee.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Have we noticed that?
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes.
We hope to engage some of our...
Not that I'm complaining.
That's right. Not a complaint at all. We're going to engage some of our local, successful business people, right, who happen to be African American to boot, and we're going to celebrate with this theme. I think that I can let the cat out of the bag here, but our theme for Black History Month in February of 22 is going to be to know the past and shape the future.
Oh,
right?
I like that.
We're going to do the event where we have a speaker. I'm not going to say the speaker's name. He's already confirmed, but I'm not going to say his name. We're going to have a speaker to come and to address our students. Again, following flags and faces, inviting people, inviting organizations, come be a part of this event. And we want to try to pull in the student body to events of that nature. I'm working with another committee right now for Women's History Month, which is in March. I don't know if everybody knows that, but we're planning a luncheon. And the shape that luncheon is taking is, imagine a room filled with really nice tables with really nice food, filled with professional women from here on campus at MCC and female students from our campus who pre-register, and they sit at the table and they have these important, pertinent conversations at the table, and then they hear from a keynote speaker to address the plight of women in our culture, and where that young lady has already confirmed, but I'm not going to say her name here either, but her plight, right? They're going to hear a single story from the stage. That's just a couple of those ideas that we know we've got coming up in the spring.
Well, the thing is, you know, society's changing. And I think, you know, I tell students this all the time when they come in and you have an older student and they're like, oh, I'm going to be the oldest person in the classroom or something like that. And I say, no, you're not.
Sure.
No, you're not. Because, you know, like our average age of our student is not 18.
It's not.
And I think, you know, we have more female students than we do, you know, so if we start looking at the dynamics here, what you're doing is actually reflecting more of our student body.
Absolutely.
And that is going to bring people more into the, you know, I've always said this, you know, it's like just because someone succeeds doesn't mean that someone else has to fail.
That's right.
You know, that there's room at the table for everybody.
That's right.
And I am so glad that we had this conversation and that you were director of engagement,
That's
whatever that means. But I want to have you on again, and I want to continue this conversation.
For sure.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Since 1996, the MCC Foundation Tuition Guarantee Program has provided students an opportunity to find their potential. Thousands of students have benefited from the program. Over $6 million have been invested in the students who learn and live right here in our community. This program is funded by individuals and businesses who believe in our students, our families, and the economic impact of an education at Meridian Community College. Now is your chance to offer support. Give today at meridiancc.edu/give.
On behalf of executive producer Matt Milner and media consultant Josh Taylor, thank you for watching. We hope you learned a little bit, and we'll see you next time.